Good. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to the. Am I sharing again? Let me see. Am I sharing again? You can still see the screen up right? Okay, so we should have up there. Okay, so last week we talked, well, 2 weeks ago we talked about, well, actually 2 weeks ago we didn't have anybody but my wife and I in the church, and so we decided we would just meet virtually. So I didn't go set up chairs and tables and cameras and whatever there. Hopefully this will work better. And in 2 weeks, Lori and I are heading off to Israel the very next day. So we thought I'll kick this meeting. So we'll meet again in 5 weeks. The second week of April will be the 14th. And we'll continue there. Maybe we'll have more stories from Israel to talk about and share. Anyway, that should be a good time though. That's the plan anyway. Okay, so let's go back with. Okay, so Roman numerals look like this, and those are the different letters. We went through some Roman numerals. We had the other type, different alphabet. I'm sorry, number systems from different countries, whatever. We finally got down to Hebrew, and Hebrew uses the letters 1 through 22, the first 22 letters, as letters as numbers. Okay, so Aleph is number 1, Beit is number 2, Gimel is number 3, then Dalet and Ham and Vav and Zayin and Chet, Tate and Yod, etc. So hopefully you're getting kind of familiar with the letters. You can look at things alphabetically, you can also look at things numerically as they needed. So using the final forms of a couple of them, the Kof, the Mem, the Nun, the Pei, and the Tzadi have a different ending on the end of a word. And so that would refer to, so we have the first 9 numbers here would be 1 through 9. The next 10 would be the decades, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, up through 90. And then this would be 100 up through 900. So combine those, you have the units, the tens, and the hundreds. You go up to 1,000 pretty much basically that way. Okay, and we're going to hopefully talk about gematria, and I think probably I'll let you do a little research about that in the next 5 weeks and come back and tell me what you found about gematria. But that's just a letter, that's good. So we do use this in the verses in the Tanakh, and the Tanakh is the Hebrew Bible. And so I'm not going to go through that part again. You look at the video from 2 weeks ago and see what all the same things are there. But this is like the first beginning of the word Genesis, in the beginning, Bereshit. Okay, this is the Aleph, this is chapter 1, and this is 1 through 23. So this is verses 1 through 23 in chapter 1 of Genesis. Okay, anyway, there's some more examples in the scriptures. If you have a copy of the Bible in printed form, then you can either pause this if you're watching it later, if you've got it close by. Take a look at your English Psalm 21. Psalm 119, sorry. Okay, so Psalm 119 is what we're looking at there. And Psalm 119 is unusual in that it's got Hebrew in it. So if you haven't looked at that before, if you're online, you can look at the online version of it. Okay, but Psalms 119 is a series of 8 verses. So the first 8 verses, 1 through 8, have the letter Aleph in front. The next 8 have the letter Beit. The next 8 have Gimel. Okay, so 25 through 32 have Dalet, 33 through 40 have Hay, 41 through 48 have Vav, and so they go right on through, just as we would, again, your version of the Bible probably has the exact same thing in it, and it'll show all of those letters. And it goes through all 22 letters. Now, if you look at does that look very poetic? Psalms are very poetic, and it doesn't look like there's much poetic there, looking just like that. Okay, let's take a look at something else, maybe a little bit. Okay, let's see if you can see anything here. So on this side, we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Over here, the letters Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, and Chet, which are the letters for the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in Hebrew. As you continue to the next section, instead of Aleph, the next part will say Bet. And there's the number 9, 10, 11, 12. And then they give a talk about it has Tav, it has the Tet, it has the Yod, Yod Aleph, which would be 10 and 1. Yod Bet is 10 and 2. Yod Gimel would be 10 and 3. Yod Dalet would be 10 and 4. But instead of 5, it says it has the Tet and Vav. So it says 9 and 6. And then it says 9 and 7. And the reason why it does that is to not put the couple letters from the name of God in there. So it wants to keep that, so it's pure and pristine, I guess. Anyway, and that's good. So hopefully that would make sense.
My iPad. Anyway, so that's what you continue on there. We can then say there's that.
Can you rename it? All right, got that one? I got maybe you can see that. That looks a terrible picture in my screen now. You're okay, better than that one. All right, these all had some things. This is notice that we have letters that start those sentences. These all start with L's, those all start with H's, these start with D's. Okay, and so that's something we have in English sometimes, and the word for it just totally just escapes me right now. But it's something we find in anyway in some kind of poetry. Well, in Hebrew, this is Psalms 119. So if you look at the English part, we're not seeing a whole lot there that maybe looks too exciting. Thing there, but in Hebrew, if you can see right over here, all of the letters, all of the words start with the letter Aleph, 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 Aleph. All of them, the first 8, start with the letter Aleph. If you look at the next 8 verses, all of them start with the letter Bet. Bet, 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 Bet. If you look at the next 8, they all start with Gimel. And the next one, they all start with Dalet. Now, we don't see that in the English part at all. Totally missing this. When you translate it, it's missing the translation. And it goes all the way through the alphabet till you get to the 21st letter, which is Sheen, and all of them start with Sheen. then the 22nd letter, all of them start with Tav. And so every one all the way through 176 verses has that pattern, which if you read the English version, you totally miss because it's in the Hebrew. So that's one example. It'd be very nice to have the Hebrew background. Okay. All right. Okay. So as again, we look at the different the numbers here. The ones we were avoiding were the ones that would here. This would be the two that would have the name beginning of the name of a deity in them. And so we have these two numbers that were different for 15 and 16 that changed the pattern. Okay, because of the word, this is the word for God, called the tetragram or the tetragrammaton, the four letter of the name of the word Almighty. Okay, so Yod, He, Vav, He. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless to take his name in vain. And so they want to avoid anything that would be looking like even having part of his name. Okay, and so the numbers in there write them out, no problem. But if they abbreviate with the letters, they do that. Okay, let's review some of the letters. You can say these at home if you don't know them already. And again, each of the letters, I'll have you say the name of the letter, look at what it looks like, either written or in printed form, and say what it sounds like also. And again, it can have an A sound, an R sound, an E sound, an I, an O sound. We'll do it with a U sound this time, okay? So Olive says nothing. Say that. Olive says nothing. Bait says bo, or I guess Bait says boo or boo. Gimel says goo. Dalet says do. He says poo. Bob says voo. Zain says zoo. Kate says who. Says who. Yod says you. Says who and who. Lamed says Lou. Mem says moo. Noon says new. Stomach says foo. Ain is silent. It says poo and foo. Hadi says foo. Kof says koo. Reish says roo. Sheen says shoo and sue. Bob says sue. Hopefully you're getting those and getting that down and doing okay with what those are. Okay, our vowels, we have basically these 7 vowel sounds. We have a, e, o, and u. Okay, the a sound is the schwa. That's written with 2 dots above each other. This is the schwa. It's almost not pronounced, but it's like the in the, very, very short. As in I don't know. It's the word melech, for example, has in it. That's the triangle that has the 3 dots and a triangle underneath the vowel, underneath the consonant. Okay, the has 4 ways to do it. Okay, it has the patach and the comets. Looks like a hyphen and a hyphen with a little line going down underneath the words. Or it may have a schwa there, which is a patach, katach, patach, and the katach kamat. Okay, either one of those have a very short sound also. Those are the ah sounds though. Okay, the a sound, as in today, is that one right there, the 2 dots, and it's pronounced like a. The e is the kick, and it's the e sound, as in Elohim, or talking about cherubim, cherubs, cherubim. The o, okay, would be the cholam. Cholam. This is a vav with a dot on the top of it. That's cholam. And the u sound can either be the shuruk, which is a vav with a dot in the middle, shuruk, or it can be the cholam with the dot. It can be the kibbutz with the 3 dots underneath. All right, and I don't think I talked to you very well about what those can do, how we put those together. But basically, we have when you look at a word, you look at the consonants first, and then the vowel underneath, or to the if it's to the left, you say that after. And that's true in every case except if the last letter is a chet, then you say that vowel before the chet. Otherwise, it sounds kind of weird. Anyway, that's good. All right. So we've been doing vocabulary words for the first 3 chapters. Na'ar was the word for young man, or boy, or lad, or attendant, or servant. So everybody, what's the word? Again, at home, you can say it out loud. What's the word for young man, boy, or lad? Na'ar. Na'ar. Perfect. Old man or elder? Zakein. Zakein. The word for house was bait. Bait. You can't go out selling a house, you gotta buy it. You don't buy it anymore. All right. River is Nahar, so it's not like Nahar, a young man. There's an X, like H in the middle, an extra hay there. So Nahar is river. Nahar. The next one, field, is Sadeh. Jake, can you hear me or see me?
Yes.
You can. Okay. My wife says she can't hear me or see me anymore. So, okay. As long as you still hear and see me, we'll keep going. Thank you.
It's a little hard to hear you.
Yeah, I don't have a very good microphone there. And my iPad went out, had an error. So I'll try to talk a little bit louder. Anyway. All right. Derek then was word for road or away. Okay, those are all nouns. And nouns are normally either masculine or feminine. Okay, for prepositions are normally added at the beginning before a noun or whatever. So if the word all means on or upon, against, or concerning, because of, over, in a sense, or by means of, over, that's fine. That's the word all, A-L, which is the ein and the lamed. If ba is in the beginning of a word, it means in, with, or by means of. So Israel is the word Israel. Okay, B'Israel would mean in Israel. Etzel means near or beside or by. Etzel. Adverb sham refers to there or in that place. Sham is there or in that place. Yeah, it means where or in what place. The conjunction va, the vav, with the shva, it means and you put it right before another word. So if you had na'ar would mean young man, hana'ar would be young man, and vahana'yar would be and the young man. Okay, and the young man. That's the and part. Okay. That's it for that page. Okay, chapter 2 had the following. It had ish, which meant husband or man. Husband or man was ish. The plural of that is anashim. It's not just ishim, but anashim. Anashim. Okay, and the word for wife or woman is isha. Isha. The plural of that is nashim rather than the ishot. So nashim is irregular ending for that one. That's for women or for wives. Bayit was a singular for house, but is an irregular ending. That means houses. Batim. The word for boy or child is yeled. Yeled. And so I'm yelling at my computer. That's yeled. That's yelling at your kids, maybe. Yeled. The plural is yeledim for boys or children. Ekal is palace or temple. Okay. The word for king or ruler is melech, and the plural of melekim would be kings or rulers. The word for book is sefer, sefer, plural seferim. More of that same chapter. Chapter 2 was Ebed, and Ebed was a servant or a slave. Ebed. Okay, the word for city was Ir. Ir. Again, it starts with an ayin, which is silent, and then the yod and the resh. The plural is not, this is a feminine word, but it ends with a masculine plural ending, which is arim. Arim is cities. For pronouns, we have me, which means who. We have who, which means he or it. And we have he, which means she or it, if it's a feminine thing. For adverbs, we have po, which means here in this place.
If we have efo, it means where. That's a synonym of aye. Aye. Can you hear me any better now?
Yes.
Hopefully, yes. Okay, I got my iPad came back on right now, so that's good. Okay, that was chapter 2's vocabulary. Here's chapter 3. This is new to you. Okay, so the first one is davar. Say that, please. And davar means word or matter or thing or affair. So there's a whole bunch of different things that one can mean. And the plural of that is devarim. Say devarim. Okay, the next one is famine, which is ra'av. Ra'av means famine. There's a famine in the land. Okay, the word eretz, means land or earth. Eretz. So they'll talk about Eretz Yisrael, with the land of Israel. Okay, so it's not talking about the planet, but the earth and the dirt and whatever around different places. The plural of that would be Erizot. Okay, the next one is, the word for mountain is the word har. Okay, har. That's the mountain, har. The word for people or nation is not am, but The word for garden is gone, like gone with the wind if it blew away, gone. And those are all nouns. And again, nouns are either feminine or masculine. Most of those are masculine there. Okay, adjectives. Adjectives can be singular, they can be plural, they can be masculine, they can be feminine. So in English, we just have the word good. In Hebrew, they have 4 words for good. Okay, but the general one is just the word tov. So tov means good. What's the word for good? Tov. Okay, likewise, there's 4 words for big or great or large. And that's gadol is one of those. We'll talk about the other 3 in a couple minutes. So gadol, big or large. The word for small or little or unimportant is katon. So small, little, or unimportant is what? Katon. Okay, the word for beautiful or handsome or pretty would be yafeh. And again, there's 4 words for that, yafeh, depending if it's masculine, feminine, or plural, plural masculine, plural feminine. Masculine plural, feminine plural. Okay, the word ra means evil, bad, or wicked. Evil, bad, or wicked. And for the adverb is me'od. Me'od means much or very much. So if you say tov, that means good. Tov me'od means a whole bunch of good. In other words, it's very good. So if you say tov, or if you said gadol me'od, that would be very big. Or katon me'od would be very small. Or yafeh ma'od would be very beautiful. So it's a nice adverb to add on different adjectives. Okay, let's continue. So last time we started, we went through this first part about the definite article, and that was great. Back here, adjectives agree in number and gender. So again, we have tov, that's the masculine singular. If it's feminine and singular, it's tova. If it's plural, it's tov, tova. So you can have a guy can be tov, a girl can be tova. If you have a bunch of guys, they can be tovim. Tovim is the plural. And a bunch of girls, that would be tovot. So let's repeat those 4 words together. So we'll do masculine singular. For a guy would be tov. For a girl would be tova. A bunch of guys, a bunch of people would be tovim. A bunch of ladies would be tovot. Okay, beneath there we have big, and we have the same four things. A big man would be gadol. So ish gadol. For a woman would be isha gadolah. Okay, a bunch of guys would be gadolim if they're big. So anashim gadolim. And a bunch of ladies, that would be nashim gadolot. So those names again: gadol, gadolah, gadolim, gadolot. Tov, tova, tovim, tovot. Okay, the word for wise is kind of hard to say. It's chakam. So chakam, chakama, chakamai, hakamim, and hakamot. That would be a wise guy, a wise girl, a bunch of wise guys, and a bunch of wise girls. Okay. All right. So that's the masculine, and that's feminine, and you see the singulars and the plurals there. Great. Again, so katon would be really small. So katon, katana, katanim, katanot. Say those with me. Katon, katana, katanim, katanot. So if it's a small man, it would be ish katon. A small woman, isha katana. Small men would be anashim katanim, and little women, okay, like Louisa May Alcott wrote a book about, nashim katanot. All right, okay, if you have a whole bunch of something, okay, that would be not just me'od, okay, this would be rav. Rav means a lot of something. So we have rav, rava, ravim, ravot. Okay. A lot of one thing that's masculine, a lot, okay, this is a singular feminine. I'm sure I have a lot of something that's singular, but anyway, that's it. Rava, rab, rava, ravim, ravot. Okay, for something that's bitter, mar, mara, marim, marot. You may remember that when Moses was taking the people, they came to a spot that was called Marah. And Marah, this is in Exodus 15:23, where they came to the water and the water was bitter. And so the Lord told Moses to smack the rock, and the rock had water, came out and healed it, and then they could drink the water. So that part that was bitter came from the word for bitter, Marah. Okay, the word for evil is ra. If you have a guy that's bad, evil, like Putin would be ra, bad, bitter, okay? Evil. A bad girl would be ra'ah. A bunch of bad guys would be ra'im rather. And a bunch of bad ladies would be ra'ot, evil. Ra, ra'ah, ra'im, ra'ot. Something that's strong would be az. Feminine would be azah, azim, azot. Something that's living would be chai, chaya, chayim, chayot. Chai, chaya, chayim, chayot. In fact, if you may have read some books by a guy named Chaim Potach. His first name means life. Or if you've seen Fiddler on the Roof, they drink to life. L'chaim, this means to, and chaim is life, to life. Okay, dal means poor. So if you're poor and you're a poor man, would be ish dal. If you're a poor lady, that would be isha dala. Okay, or dalim or dalot. This making sense? Hopefully this is making sense to y'all. All right, okay, and so if you have adjectives end in the eh, like yafe, goes to yafa, yafim, yafot is the word for beautiful. Okay, so handsome or beautiful, that's that. Okay, for hard or difficult, kashe, kasha, kashim, kashot. Okay, masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural. Okay, same thing happens with, say, horse. Horse is just sus. For female, susa, that would be called a mare. susa, just add the comments and the hey would susa. And this would be susim. So again, we read the samic. Then the next we read the vav with the dot in it. We read the samic with the hirik yod, and then the mem. So S U S. There's the I and the M. So susim. Okay, and this would be susot. There's a bunch of mares, a bunch of female horses. So sus, susa, susim, susot. Now in Hebrew, they also have dual words that have, if it's more than one, and so instead of having im, they have aim. So susaim would be two horses or two mares. Instead of susot, it would be susataim. Susataim. If you have yad, that would just, and it's feminine, that would just be yad and yadot. You can't have yadim because that would be masculine. We don't have masculine hands, we just have feminine hands. Okay, but we do have two hands, which would be yadayim. Yadayim would be two hands then. All right. Okay, so nouns have two different endings. Ot and otot is a sign, and it's always, this is always just feminine. And so it doesn't have a masculine for this one. If you have blood, it's dam, and plural is damim. That can also refer to bloodshed. Tree rather, is eitz. The plural is eitzim. Song is sur, shur, and songs is shurim. Horse can either be sus or susa, susim, or susot. You can have masculine or feminine of those, or you can have feminine songs or feminine trees or feminine blood or feminine signs. So they agree in gender and in number, but also in numbers of things. So for example, now we can talk about if you have one horse, one sus, instead of saying the same word for this one, this is, okay, this is the sego. Okay, so olive has no sound. There's a sego, there's the chet, and the comments, and the dalet is going to be echad. So sus echad is one horse, but if it's feminine, you'd say susa achat. So it's different if it's a different one if it's masculine, or different not one if it's feminine. Different two if it's masculine, different two if it's feminine, and these, by the way, have the dual endings on them, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, and we also have constructs, more on those a little later on, 11 and 12 through 19. Okay, so Hebrew nouns have masculine or feminine. They have a basic root in the singular male. They might be adding an a to that to make it feminine. They often add im to make it masculine, and a plural, and ot to make it plural feminine, like the one we just talked about. Okay, enough on those, I guess. Okay, so now we're down to adjectives, and adjectives again describe things. The first sentence here says adjectives occur in two functions, attributive and predicative, and those are correct, but what does that mean? Well, attributive means it's attributes. It's talking about attributes of somebody or something. So there's no verbs to it. On the other hand, in English, we have every sentence should have a subject and a predicate. And the predicate generally has a verb in it. And Hebrew, some sentences don't even have a verb in it. So I can't quite say it that way. So for example, if you're saying this is a good man versus the man is good, that's a predicative. It has a vowel like that, or a verb, the man is good, that's predicative. We'll talk more about that in a minute. If it's attributive, there's no vowel, no verb. And those have to agree in their number and the gender and the definitiveness or the definiteness. So over here we have ish, which means a man, and tov, which means good. So ish tov is a good man. If you put ha-ish, that means the man. And you put ha-tov, it means the good. Now, we don't say that in English. We don't say the man, the good. We just say the man, we just say the good man. Now, notice in English, adjectives come before the noun. So we have a rich lady, an old man, and a young kid or whatever, okay? And in Hebrew, most of the Latin languages like Spanish and Portuguese and French, most of the Arabic and Hebrew and those languages have it just the opposite direction. The nouns precede the adjectives. So you say man first and good after. So ish tov or ha-ish ha-tov. So they agree in the number and in the gender. Okay, so if you have anashim, that's men, and tovim is the plural. So anashim tovim is just good men. But if it's the good men, you have to have ha here, the definite article, ha-anashim, but you have to have a ha over there, ha-tovim. So ha-anashim, ha-tovim is the good men. So it's like the men, the good, means the good men. We good with that? Hopefully, yes. Okay, so here we go through several of these. So ish tov is a good man. Ha-ish ha-tov is the good man. Anashim tovim is good men. Ha-anashim ha-tovim is the good men. Well, what about the ladies? So isha would be singular feminine, and tova would be singular feminine. So this would be good woman, a good woman. If you have the good woman, we want to put the in front of good and the in front of woman. So it's going to be ha-isha, ha-tova. Ha-isha, ha-tova is the good woman. If you make that plural, good becomes tovot, and women becomes nashot. Nashim. So nashim tovot, good women. Versus you put the, you have to have the in front of good and the in front of women. So it's going to be hanashim hatovot. Hanashim hatovot. We're good so far? Okay, a great city. Okay, the word for city is ir. The word for great is gadol if it's masculine, but ir is feminine. It's feminine, so it's going to be gadolah. So ir gadolah is a great city. If you want to say the great city, you need to put a the in front of great and a the in front of city, and city comes first. So ha'ir ha'gadolah. Ha'ir ha'gadolah. Okay, plural, great cities would be arim gadolot.
Hey, Dennis, can we go back
Yes.
to that last one?
You betcha. On women?
I think so.
Okay, so the word for isha, this is isha, which is woman, tova, which means good. So just it's either good woman or a good woman. If you say the, you have to put the ha in the hey in front of both the noun and the adjective. So ha isha is the woman, and then ha tova is the good. The woman, the good is we would say the good woman. Okay, so good women in plural, the word nashim would be women, and tovot would be good in the plural. So nashim tovot is just good women. If you want to say the good women, we need to put the hey in front of both of them. So we say the women, ha nashim, and then we put the good, which is ha tovot. So hanashim hatovot.
Thank you.
You betcha. Okay, so now we're to city, and city is feminine, singular. So we say ir, not gadol, but gadolah, because it's feminine. Ir gadolah. To say the great city would be ha'ir ha'gadolah. Ha'ir ha'gadolah, the great city. If you have more than one city, ir goes to arim, and gadolah goes to gadolot. So arim gadolot would be great cities. Arim gadolot. The great cities, you have to add a the in front of both of them, In this case, it's Hey Arim Hagadolot. Hey Arim Hagadolot. So again, the adjective agrees with the gender of the noun, not with the ending. So this is a masculine ending for Arim, but it's still a feminine word. And so this is going to be the feminine ending. Okay, now sometimes in Hebrew, we don't add some of the verbs, especially the verb to be. Okay, and it came from this next scripture in Exodus. Moses is saying unto God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, that I should bring forth the children of Israel? If you look at the King James Version, every time you see a word that's in italics, it means this word does not exist in the Hebrew language. It's not written in the Bible, but they had to add it to have it make sense. So for example, the word am doesn't appear. In Hebrew, in the Bible, it just says, who I. And this shall be a token. Would just say, and this a token unto thee. This, instead of what is his name, would just be what his name. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense if we don't put those in. So we translated that, the King James Version added that, but they wrote it in italics. You would know we had to add this because it's not in there. Now, I am, this one was written there, and it comes off, this would be Ehyeh Ke'asher Ehyeh, which literally means I am that I am. I am because I created everything. I am because I exist, because I'm eternal and I'm immortal and I'm unchangeable. Now that's such an important concept. Someone said, well, who could we shouldn't say up here, I am or am I? That's almost like saying you're God. So they took that whole verb out of the out of the Hebrew language, so they wouldn't be blaspheming God. Good. All right. Okay, and down we have is my name, and is memorial. Okay, moving on. Okay, so in English, okay, we use order for meaning. In Hebrew, they do it different. Okay, so the boy went to school. The boy is the subject. It's what happened to. Okay, this is what the exciting stuff happened to the boy. This is the verb. Went to school is the other stuff. Okay, so went is the verb. The subject, the boy, came first, then the verb, and then the other stuff, the predicate part over here. In Hebrew, the subject comes first, and then the other stuff, including, well, if it's just other stuff. If there's a verb, the verb in Hebrew comes before the subject, and then the other stuff. So the king on the horse, we can't say the king is on the horse. Okay, you'd say Ha-melech. Ha-melech is the king, and on, remember, it was al. Horse was sus, so hasus. So Ha-melech al hasus, the king on the horse. Okay, the word for who was me. Me was who, and Sadiq is righteous. So me Sadiq means who is righteous. That was no problem on that one. The problem happens when we have a verb, because in English, we say the king first, then walked in the garden. Here they say, he walked, halak, he walked. Who walked? Ha-melech, the king. And then gone is the word for garden, and Hagan would be the garden, and Bagan would be in the garden. So halak, Ha-melech, Bagan, he walked the king in the garden, or the garden, he walked in, okay, the king, he walked in the garden. Okay, it's out of order from what we said in English, but that's what they do in Hebrew. Are we good there? Okay, let's go a little bit more practice on the way that these come out. All right, and so nouns, okay, this is the predication. It agrees in number and gender, but not the definite, not the definite article. You don't put the in front. So in this case, tov ha'ish, it's not, okay, so tov is good, the man. So this says good is the man, or ha'ish tov, the man is good. You can say it either way. Tov ha'ish or ha'ish tov is the man is good. So it's not, if you said ha'ish ha-tov, it means the good man. Okay, but if there's not a ha, then you need the verb in there then. In this case, the verb is. So the man is good instead of the good man. What about women? Okay, tova is good. Ha'isha. So this means the wife or the woman is good. And again, you can put that in the other direction. You can put ha'isha first and then tova after. But the ha, the definite article, the, is only on the noun, not on the adjective. So ha'isha tova or tova ha'isha is the woman is good, either way. What about plurals? Okay, so tovim ha'anashim, this would be they are good, the men are good. Or tovot hanashim, the women. They are good, the women are good. Is making sense? And then when I first thought this, I thought, what the heck? It makes a big difference if there's an extra hey in there or not. Okay, and so one of them has the one time. If it's on both of them, you don't have a verb. If it's on both of them, there's no verb. It's an adjective, and they're going to agree in different article. And if they're not, there's going to be a verb there also. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more of them. Okay, here's a longer set of these. Okay, the word for city was ir. The word for the city would be ha'ir. Well, what if it's the city, but it's also great and it's good? So the great city would be ha'ir hagadolah. And the word for and was, remember the vav in front, that means and. And then good would be tov, but it's feminine, so it'd be tova. But with a definite article, the ha, there's the ha. So it'd be ha tova. And then there's the vav. So this would be the city, the great, and the good. So the great and good city. And great can be wonderful, amazing, or it can wonderful or great, or it can be really big. Okay, are you still with me?
Yep.
My son said they cut out, so all right, we'll keep going. Okay, so the city is great and good. Okay, so now it's not, now it's the city here, but it's not the great and the good. So the only the is right over here. So ha'ir gadolah v'tova. So there's not a ha, and there's no definite article on these two. So now we have the verb, the city is great and the city is good. Okay, an adjective may be modified by a prepositional phrase about where something is. Okay, so we have tova, which is good, ha'ir, which is the city is good, la'am, we learned today was meant people, and la at the beginning means to. Okay, so in Hebrew it says, it is good, the city to the people. We double the word to in English and say for. So we say the city is good for the people. Okay, but in Hebrew, it is good, the city to the people. Okay, when a subject is indefinite, there's a bit of you're not quite sure if it's a little bit ambiguous. Okay, so for example, hakam hakam refers to is wise. So hakma was wisdom, and tova would be good. So hakma tova could mean good wisdom, or it could mean wisdom is good. Because it didn't say the wisdom is good. We can't tell the and the. If it's indefinite, you don't put and we don't put anything if it's So hopefully from the context, you can tell what that would mean. All right, so we're good on those. And an adjective with a definite article can also mean, like, for example, hakam refers to someone wise, and hekakam means the wise one or the wise man. And both of those can be used as abstract things. Like for ha'ara would be evil or evilness or wickedness. Hara or ha'ara, ha'ra'a would be evil or wickedness. Okay, and again, that's the vocabulary for this week, and we're good there. We've got about 55 minutes in. Okay, so if you've watched any of the Olive with Beth videos, they've been fairly good. And this is one that goes through what we've been talking about. It has the plurals, it has the singulars, it has small and very small and big. Let me show you just a few minutes of this and see if this makes sense. I'll probably talk over part of it with you. This comes up.
כבש.
The word for sheep.
כבש גדול,
Big sheep,
כבש קטון,
little sheep,
כבש קטון מאוד,
very little sheep.
מאוד. פרה גדולה,
Big cow,
פרה קטנה,
small cow,
פרה קטנה מאוד,
very small cow.
קטנה מאוד. סוס קטון, סוס גדול, סוס גדול מאוד,
Little,
עז גדולה, עז קטנה, עז קטנה מאוד. זה איש. מה זה? זה נער. נער. זה נער. איש נער.
okay, you keep watching that yourself some other time, but that's okay. We went through katan and gadol and meod and ish, and so those are all words that hopefully made some sense to you. Maybe you didn't know the word for a cow or whatever, but that's good. Okay, so again, that's a good example of one that would follow on. Okay, so the homework, if you can either print this up, look at it, whatever. We'll go through it right now instead of having you go on. Okay, but what the four forms are: the masculine singular, the feminine singular, the masculine plural, and the feminine plural of each one of these words. Okay, then orally go through these words, and then write these words down. And what these are, this is a little harder to do them all in Hebrew. So again, when I send the PowerPoint to you, you can try this at home. I'll send you the answers. We'll go over some of the answers right now. Okay, so in this one, kadosh. Kadosh means holy. Say kadosh. Okay, so what are the different endings on that? Okay, so for example, if we had gadol, remember it was gadol, gadolah, gadolim, gadolot. So kadosh, if it was a holy boy or a man, that would be kadosh. For a woman would be kadoshim. No, I'm sorry, kadosha. Kadosha. So kadosh, kadosha. A bunch of guys would be kadoshim, and a bunch of ladies would be kadoshot. Again, kadosh, kadosha, kadoshim, kadoshot. Rachoch is distant. Those four words are then going to be rachoch, rachoka, rachokim, rachokot. Rachoch, rachoka, rachokim, rachokot. Karov is the word for near. So that's going to be karov, karova, karovim, karovot. Karov, karova, karovim, karovot. Kabed is heavy. Kabed. Okay, so kabed, kabeda, kabedim, kabedot. Okay, thirsty. This looks like an S. Remember, S with a dot under it. It says like pizza. Okay, this is the tzadi. So this is tsame. Tsame, tsamea, samei, sameim, sameot. Same, samea, sameim, sameot. And shalem means whole or sound or complete. It's the word peace comes from this, like shalom. So shalem, shalema, shalemim, shalemot. Shalem, shalema, shalemim, shalemot. The good man, number for man was ish. What was the word for good? That would be tov. And if you have a the goes before both of those words. And you put the noun before the adjective. So it would be ha-ish, ha-tov. Ha-ish, ha-tov. The small man. Again, man is ish. So you'd say ha-ish. And small was katon, so hakaton. Ha-ish, hakaton. The evil man, okay, would be man is still ha-ish. The word for evil was ra'ah. So ha-ish, hara, ha-ish, hara. And that's been an hour. So I guess we're about done. So if you get the PowerPoint, as you just click on these, it shows you there's the large city, the small city, the evil city, the beautiful woman, the small woman, the good woman. Okay, and so you go through all of these and it has all the answers. So you can do this at home. I probably won't do this. We could review this at the beginning of next lesson, which again will be in 5 weeks. Okay, so go through all of those, and that's really great. And you'll have a good time with those. If you want to do these are a little harder to write out the Hebrew. That would be the Hebrew for these sentences and for those sentences. All right. And actually, I want to talk about one more thing. Okay, this is to kind of blow you away. Biblical Hebrew words have multiple meanings and nuances. Each shade of color adds to the full picture. So the word davar we talked about meant word. Well, actually, there's over 50 translations for that one word in the Bible, davar. It's in Exodus 34:28, for example. So if you go to this website, unlockbiblemeaning.com, and search for the 10 Commandments, there's a book that's called Strong's Index that he goes through and they look at every single word that occurs in the Hebrew Bible, every single Hebrew word. And so Hebrew word number 1697 is this word, davar. And so if you'll find this verse right there, if you click on the right to look at the Strong's Index, it will say this up here. And there's each of the words, the word for Lord, the word for 40, the word for days. The word for days is the word 3,117. The word for 40 is 705, again 705 for 40, etc. So there's the words. 1697 is the word davar, or davarim for the word words. So davar means this. It can mean matter, it can mean word, it can mean a thing, it can mean a cause, it can mean an affair, an advice, an act, a case, a degree, a glory, or matter, or lying, or matter, or purpose, or provision. 50 different words for that same word. And so when people argue, well, what does it mean in Hebrew? The answer is it can mean a whole lot of different things. This is the word just before. It's spelled the same. This is the root from it, and it means a little bit different. Okay, the next word, deber, has different vowels. It doesn't mean the same thing. It means mirain or pestilence or plague, but it came from the same root. Dober means a pasture, can mean a fold or manner. Okay, divra or dibra, or dobra or dabara. a lot of different meanings of different things. So anyway, hopefully you're understanding that there's some other things that make sense and are great, and some things that are maybe a little bit complicated for you. And that's the end of chapter 3. Thanks for staying with me. And here we go.
That's all, folks.
Okay, I'll see you back in 5 weeks on the 14th of April. Thank you very much. Take care.